Okay, good day everyone. So today we are going to discuss another lesson. So we are now on lesson number 2. So what we are going to discuss is about solving quadratic equation by factoring. So in this lesson, you are going to uh, find out on how factoring is being used in solving a given quadratic equation. So without further ado, let us now proceed on our discussion. So let's start it by knowing what are the things that we needed in order for us to solve quadratic equation by factoring. The first thing we needed is the what we call zero product property. Zero product property states that for any real numbers A and B, if AB is equal to 0, then A is equal to 0 and B is equal to 0. So zero product property only means that if you do have factors and it is equated into 0, you can you can equate both factors into 0 with the application of the zero product property. That's one thing that will help us in order for us to solve that equation by factoring. Second, so if the given equation is ax squared plus bx is equal to 0, where c is equal to 0, just like what we have mentioned yesterday on yesterday's lesson, na kind of equation na still we can consider as quadratic equation. So if that is the case of a given equation, so we can use factoring by using the common monomial factoring. So you have already discussed that during your grade 8, but we still going to recall it today for you to know on how common monomial factoring is being used in in solving quadratic equation by factoring. Then third is yung tinatawag nating sapak method. So sapak method, this is a combination of two methods in factoring. Sapak method stands for SAP, which stands for sum and product method, and that method, I guess, is only being one. Or use of the sum and product method when the value of a in a given quadratic equation is equal to 1. But what if your a is greater than 1? So that's the time that you are going to make use of the AC method. So AC method naman is being used again when a is greater than 1. So all in all, if we are going to use factoring as a method of solving quadratic equation, these are the three things that are needed. The first one is zero product property. The second is the common monomial factoring. And the third one is the SAPAC method, the combination of the sum and product and the AC method. And of course, in order for us to um, in order for us to understand on how to solve quadratic equation by factoring, it would be best if we are going to apply certain steps. So yung steps na apply natin, still, we're going to hide it through an acronym. So this time, steps na apply natin in order to solve quadratic equation by factoring is hidden in the word fart. Fart, pasintabi sa mga kumakain. So, medyo mabantot na usapan but very effective in solving quadratic equation by factoring. Bakit nga ba fart yung step natin dyan? Very steps na tinatawag natin dyan. Well, fart is very seldom that people are talking about it. Because sino nga pa naman yung pag-uusapan yung ito? Diba? So, hindi maganda pag-usapan yon. So, kung doon sa mga close na yung mga friends nyo, yan medyo ano sa inyo yan medyo sanay na. Pero doon sa mga iba kung nakakarap tayo ng tao, so medyo awkward pag-usapan yung utot na tinasawag natin. But did you know that there are some things that you have to know about fart. So this is just a trivia about fart. Did you know that fart, another term or another term that we can call to fart is flatulence. So fart is also flatulence. So that's another term for fart. And there are also other things that you have to know about fart. Sabi dito, the average person produces 0.6 to 1.8 liters of intestinal gas. So fart is an intestinal gas. So average person daw produces 0.6 up to 1.8 liters of intestinal gas. And according to research, healthy individuals pass gas between 12 to 25 times a day. So if you think you're healthy, so that means you are passing gas 12 times to 25 times daily. So what else? What are the other things that we have to know about fart? So sabi dito, only 1% of the gases expelled in fart smells bad. 1% lang pala yung yung papasok doon sa gas units na yung 1% lang pala yung chance na magiging yung utot natin ay mabaho. So bakit nga ba nagiging mabaho, di ba? So yung 1% na yon, ibig sabihin, yung gas na inilalabas natin, meron siyang kasamang hydrogen sulfide. That's because of hydrogen sulfide. So nakuha siguro natin yun sa mga kinakain natin. O nakaka-produce tayo ng gas na nakakapag-produce ng hydrogen sulfide. So, and more than 99% of the gas that people pass consists of nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and methane. So, look at the fart daw consists of methane. Ibig sabihin, umaapoy daw pala yun. So, kapag umutot ka tapos pinapatan mo ng may sinding apoy, so mas lalong aapoy. Sabi, ang gas ay may methane, ang fart ay may methane. That's according to it. And also, sabi daw, people pass more gas when they are asleep. So kapag tulog daw yung tao, yun yung time na nagpapas ng gas. Yung more na naglalabas siya ng gas ng fart. So kapag tulog, which is true naman, di ba, may mga na-encounter nyo na ba na tulog yung katabi ninyo pero umuutot pa rin. So kasi sabi people pass more gas when they are asleep. And also the word fart, that is comes from the Old English word fjordan. Coming from the Old English word fjordan, which means to break wind. So, fart means to break wind. So, mas malaki na. Pag ikaw umutot, you are breaking the wind. So, sabi dito, soaking beans in water overnight can reduce the tendency to trigger. So, ma-reduce yung tendency of triggering to fart when you soak beans in water overnight. So, those are just trivias about a very seldom word na pag-uusapan. But still, ito, even though it's very seldom na pag-usapan, still, meron tayong uh, a lot of things na pwedeng malaman about part. So ngayon, ano ba yung part na steps na yan in solving quadratic equation by factoring? So let's have the first step. So F there stands for factor the left side of the equation after it has been arranged in ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Then it's a must in solving quadratic equation. When you're going to use factoring, your quadratic equation should be arranged in the general form of the quadratic equation, which is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So after you arrange that equation in the general form of it, so the next step will follow. So A stands for after that, equate both factors to 0, applying 0 product property. Again, after that, equate both factors to 0, applying 0 product property. So I forgot to mention on the first step that we are going to factor that left side of the equation, which is that quadratic trinomial. So it can be quadratic trinomial, can also be a binomial. So we are going to factor it by using the subtract method that we have introduced earlier, and also the common monomial factoring. Then after you factor that given quadratic equation, that's the time now that you are going to apply the zero product property. So wherein you are going to separate both factors, then equating it both into 0. Then after doing that, third step R, which stands for resulting equations must be solved. So we do have now two equations formed from the factors of that quadratic trinomial or binomial given. The one which is on the left side of the quadratic equation. So after that, we are going to solve it. Then from there, we can find out for the solutions to a given quadratic equation. Then after finding out solutions, if you want to check if your answer is correct, you can apply the last step. The last step stands for then check your answer using the given equation. So if you do have a given equation, for example, yung an equation that is written in the general form of the quadratic equation, then you have already found out the solutions to it. Then simply substitute the value to the original equation, to the given equation. Then if it satisfies the equation, then that means your answer is correct. So in order for us to solve quadratic equation by factoring, it is very easy that we are going to make use our steps, which is what we call as part.